The real star of the ritual isn't the tension or the jump scares. It's the creature. Referred to as Moder by the local cultists in the film, this monstrous entity is central to the story. But what exactly is this creature? And how does it grant the cultists immortality? And why does it have such a powerful grip on the land it inhabits? The Ritual is a 2017 British horror film directed by David Bruckner, based on the novel by Adam Neville. It tells the story of four friends who embark on a hiking trip in Sweden to honor the memory of their friend Rob, who was killed in a robbery. As they venture deeper into the wilderness, they come across an ancient and malevolent presence that begins to torment them. The film's eerie atmosphere and the dread that builds as the friends are hunted down by an unseen force make it a standout in the horror genre. To understand the creature in The Ritual, we need to delve into the mythology that inspired it. In the movie, the creature is identified as a Jotun, a term that comes from Norse mythology. The Jotnar are a race of beings often translated as giants or trolls, but they are much more complex than that. They are ancient, powerful, and antagonistic toward the gods, particularly the Aesir, a group of deities that includes Odin and Thor. The film's creature, according to a line from the script, is a bastard son of Loki. This immediately piques interest because Loki, the trickster god, is known for his chaotic nature and his infamous offspring. But here's the catch. This particular creature does not have a direct counterpart in traditional Norse mythology. So, what is it? And why is it called Loki's child? Loki is one of the most complex figures in Norse mythology. He is a shapeshifter, a trickster, and a god whose actions often bring about chaos and conflict. Loki's relationships with other beings in Norse mythology are notorious, especially when it comes to his offspring. Among his children are some of the most fearsome creatures in the Norse pantheon. Fenrir, the gigantic wolf destined to kill Odin during Ragnarok. Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, so large it encircles the earth. Hel, the ruler of the underworld. And Sleipnir, an 8-legged horse that Loki bore after transforming into a mare. Given Loki's history, it's not surprising that the ritual might tie a monstrous, almost otherworldly being to him. However, none of Loki's well-known children match the creature's description in the film. A towering, terrifying, and almost godlike entity that controls a cult and demands human sacrifices. The idea of the creature being a bastard son of Loki opens up some intriguing possibilities. Norse mythology, while rich, does have its ambiguities and lesser-known stories that are ripe for reinterpretation. The creature in The Ritual could be inspired by these lesser-known myths, or it could be a completely new creation, rooted in the essence of Norse mythology. One theory, as discussed in various fan forums and discussions, is that the creature might be one of the unknown offspring Loki fathered during his more obscure and chaotic exploits. In Lokasena, a poem from the Poetic Edda, it's mentioned that Loki spent time beneath the earth and engaged in strange activities that resulted in unknown offspring. Could this creature be one of those? It's a tantalizing idea that fits well with the film's atmosphere of ancient, forgotten horrors. Another possibility comes from Voluspa Hinskama, where Loki eats the half-burned heart of an evil woman, which results in the birth of monstrous beings. These creatures are often described as troll women or floth, but their exact nature is left ambiguous in the texts. This ambiguity allows for creative interpretations, like the one seen in The Ritual. Perhaps the creature in the film is one of these monstrous offspring, a being that embodies the chaos and darkness associated with Loki. The film identifies the creature as a Jotun, which is an intriguing choice. In Norse mythology, the Jotnar are not just giants. They are a race of beings that embody the forces of nature, chaos, and the unknown. They live in Jotunheimr, a realm separate from the gods' world, often depicted as a wild, untamed place that mirrors the creature's forest domain in The Ritual. The Jotnar are frequently in conflict with the gods, and they represent a kind of primordial force that existed before the gods established order in the cosmos. This ties into the creature's role in The Ritual as an ancient being, worshipped by a cult that practices ancient rites. The idea that this creature could be a Jotun ties it to the concept of an ancient pre-Christian deity, a being of raw, untamed power that demands obedience and sacrifice. But not all Jotnar are monstrous in the traditional sense. Some, like Skathi, the goddess associated with winter and skiing, or Geirfur, the beautiful wife of the god Freyr, show that the Jotnar can also be complex and multifaceted beings. The creature in the ritual, however, leans more towards the darker, more terrifying aspects of the Jotnar, reflecting the fear of the unknown and the primal forces of nature that humanity has always grappled with. One of the most unsettling aspects of the ritual is the cult that worships the creature. These people have lived in isolation for generations, maintaining ancient rites and rituals in honor of the being they call Moder. In the film, Moder is said to mean mother, which adds another layer to the creature's identity, suggesting it might be a nurturing, albeit terrifying force for its followers. This cult, with its primitive beliefs and practices, represents a direct connection to the ancient world, a world where gods and monsters were very real, and where humans lived in constant fear of the forces they couldn't understand. The way the cultists revere the creature as a godlike being ties into the Norse tradition of ancestor worship and the belief in beings that existed long before humanity. This concept is reinforced by the creature's demand for human sacrifices. Sacrifice was a significant part of ancient religious practices, including those in Norse culture. The idea that the creature requires these sacrifices to grant its followers immortality is a perverse twist on the ancient belief that offerings could appease the gods and ensure their favor. There's also a compelling argument that the creature in the ritual might not be solely rooted in Norse mythology. Some fans have suggested that it could be inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's mythos, particularly the entity known as Shub-Niggurath, often referred to as the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. This creature, like the one in the ritual, is associated with dark forests, ancient rites, and monstrous offspring. The parallels between Shub-Niggurath and the film's creature are hard to ignore. Both are entities of immense power, worshipped by cults who live on the fringes of society. The idea that the creature could be a fusion of Norse myth and Lovecraftian horror makes the ritual even more intriguing, blending ancient mythologies with modern horror to create something uniquely terrifying. In The Ritual, the creature is more than just a monster. It's a symbol of the unknown, the ancient, and the terrifying. By tying it to Loki and the Jotnar, the film taps into deep-seated fears that have existed in human cultures for millennia. Whether the creature is truly a forgotten offspring of Loki or an invention inspired by various mythologies, it represents the power of myth to evoke fear and wonder.